to the Downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board. My name is Ernest Carvalho. I am Chair of Neighborhood Board 13. We'll go ahead and we'll start with Mr. Lai, please.
Good evening, everyone. Kevin Lai, thank you for coming tonight.
Aloha, I'm Bob Armstrong.
Hi, everyone. I'm Travis Thompson.
Hello, Ross Isokai.
Sean Fitzsimmons, how you doing?
Online, we have Shulon.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board 13 meeting tonight.
All right, thank you. And then we have Lori, I believe, online also.
Oh, hi there. Good morning or good evening. Lori McCarney here. Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6:02. All right, so we're going to try to keep on time tonight because we have a heavy schedule. So let's start off with the Honolulu Fire Department Public Safety Reports. Are you online? No. Not seeing any. We'll go ahead and pass them up. If they come back, we'll bring them back into order. Next, we'll go with the Honolulu Police Department. Lieutenant Segusio, please.
Good evening, Chair Carvalho. Honolulu Police Department District Responsibility. We'll get right into the stats for the month of May. So motor vehicle thefts for May were 3. Previous to that was 7, so it's down. Burglaries were 4. Previous to that month was 3. Thefts 29. Previous month was 24. UMVs or car break-ins kind of remained the same. It was 7. Previous to that was 8. Assaults were 16. Previous to that was 10. Sex assaults was 3. Previous 0. Graffiti cases for both months were 0. And drug-related offenses were 12. In the previous month, it was 16. Total cost for service for your particular area was $2,182 compared to the previous month of $1,956. So I looked into the burglaries in the area, and in most cases, food was the item that were taken. Other than those cases that I just reported, there's no criminal breaches to report at this time. I just wanted to remind everyone that there's the King Kamehameha Day Parade on the 8th. Expect more traffic in the area in the early mornings, and we want our community members to take heed in regards to the toll zones to the particular areas. We'll be clearing and towing vehicles from the parade routes and the staging areas from the night prior. And in regards to the question, I received an email from board member Travis Thompson in regards to some issues with blood draws at the hospital.
Okay, so
I did get that email.
Any questions and anything you need to answer, we'll do after you speak, and then we'll go to the audience first as usual. Okay, thank you. We can come back to the question for Travis after. Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then I did ask for patrol units to increase patrols in the area of Bethel Street and South Hawaii in regards to board member Lai's request, which leads us to the safety tip for the month of June regarding unattended drinks. With summer upon us and more young adults going out to celebrate, we're asking our community members to be more aware of their beverages. There is a growing trend on the mainland of these types of cases. Cover your drinks, never leave it unattended, and never Worst case scenario, if you begin to feel sick or be capacitated, let someone know immediately, whether it be a friend or the staff, so they can get help for you immediately as soon as possible. At this time, I'll yield back the rest of my time and take questions from the board members and the public attendees.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant Segusio. Anyone in the audience have any questions for our Lieutenant Segusio? Hearing none, seeing none. Anyone online have any questions? Okay, seeing none, hearing none. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start with our board members. So you can go ahead and reply to Mr. Thompson, Board Member Thompson.
Yeah, Board Member Thompson, I did receive your email. It's a very comprehensive answer. So I did seek the subject matter experts and spoke to the traffic division in regards to that. You'd be very surprised in regards to what I had found out. But I'll respond to you back on that email because it's kind of long and drawn out. And that's pretty much it. That's all I have to respond to that.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other board members who have a question for Lieutenant Segusio? Any board members online have a question for Board Member Segusio? All right, hearing none, seeing none, I do have one last final say. Lieutenant Segucia, just a couple of things to try to keep it under a minute. First of all, can we get someone, please, to go ahead and clean up between River and King? That area going before Oahu Market is decimated with homeless, setting up tents and building cardboard and housing right there in front of those entrance of those vendors and those stores. Unsightly, ghastly, smelling like urine and defecation all over again. Other than that, the next thing I would like to say is please tell your officers in our district that we appreciate everything they've been doing. Seeing them walking the streets, they've been doing a great job. They've been really doing a great job. And I'm sure they would like to hear from the superiors. All right?
Absolutely. I'll go try to reallocate some of the officers to that location that you just mentioned, and I'll pass on the salutations to the officers. I think they'll greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. No, thank you for your time. I do appreciate it. You have a great day. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Next, we'll move on to item 3, presentations. We're going to start off with the potential Kahale development in the Evilay area. John Mizuno.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Thank you again. Thank you for your patience. The reason we're coming up now and not sooner is because this Kauhale in the Evilay area looks to be opening probably around August, mid-August, maybe even late August or early September. So we're just here to share with the neighborhood board and the community our plans to open up this Kauhale along with probably a couple other smaller Kauhale. We just heard you, Chair, talk about homeless and some of the encampments. And we believe that if we have Kauhale, we have beds, we have shelters, we have safe zones, this will give our police officers an opportunity to work with us. And it's no longer a sweep, but a relocation movement. So if I'm the homeless guy and I'm swept off the corner of the street, if there's no bed or no place for me, chances are a day or two I'm going to come right back. And so with the Kauhale, the beds, the shelters, we believe we can now relocate, not sweep, but relocate that homeless person, homeless family into a place where they can reside with security for both for them and us, along with, let me be clear, it's a balancing test. People in the communities have a right to feel safe also. And Governor and Mayor have heard that a lot of our community members do no longer feel safe in their own communities. So this is an effort not only to house homeless, but also to make safe our districts, our communities. We want to reduce homelessness, reduce crime, reduce recidivism, reduce people going back to prison. And at the end of the day, if we do this right, reduce taxpayer costs. I've got my good friend Sam Moku here. Everyone knows the story. We went to UH together. He's my brother. And so I'm going to let him talk about what the city is doing. And this is unprecedented. When I talked to Sam, what Mayor Blangiardi and Governor Green are doing, and the fact that Sam and I are so closely connected, aligned. I mean, we sometimes we'll call each other 3-4 times a week. It's just the way it is. We think with this relationship, this unification, we truly have a vision to finally address homelessness. And both Mayor Blangiardi and Governor Green are putting significant amounts of funding in this effort. So let me turn over to my good friend, Sam Moku, the city homeless coordinator.
Aloha, Sam Moku, Mayor's homeless coordinator. Some of you were at the mayor's town hall meeting at the Blaisdell, and you felt the intensity of the mayor's push to address homelessness within our community. And the partnership, as John Mizuno talked about, as with the state, is a very important partnership, important relationship. That's because they got a lot of money. They got a lot of money to help us with that. The city does. The city is purchasing, as you know, various properties across Evilay Center, the Evilay Center, First Hawaiian Bank, and all of those properties will be used as a shelter of some sort. So Evilay Center, which is right across from Connie's or Punawai Rest Stop, will have at least 100 beds of shelter. So we call it, Anton calls it beds of many flavors. I don't know if he mentioned that in your meeting, but he talks about many different kinds of beds. In the First Hawaiian Bank location. We're looking at putting a medical respite to take care of all of the homeless that are on the sidewalk who need assistance with medical help, or if they end up going to the emergency room, this is where they can be taken, instead of taking up resources in our hospitals, they can be taken to a medical respite at the First Hawaiian Bank. So there's a number of things in Iwilei, and actually before I came here, we actually have a map that we're creating of the locations as well as the purpose of each of those locations within. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is the one. I don't know if we can send this to you, and then you can get like a summary. And there's actually going to be some additions on this flyer or information packet, you could say. So, do you want me to go down the list, or no, Nina?
Send it to us and we'll
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. So, all good. Any questions?
All right, so do we have any questions from our audience at this time?
Okay, Kendall. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Chemo's our builder, so.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is, thank you. My name is Kimo Carvalho. I'm the Executive Director of Homemade Hawaii. We are a nonprofit developer that's focused exclusively on building housing solutions for homeless and at-risk communities. Currently, we are contracted for Governor Green's administration to execute on his Kaahali initiative. So we are the lead developer. And as it relates to the projects in Iwilei, we are working with the state and the city and county of Honolulu to pretty much assess all the different lands to see what is most feasible to develop on. That requires really a keen insight into assessment of infrastructure, so electric, sewer, water infrastructure, just to be able to see what's the most efficient site to tie into. From there, as part of our process, we do involve the community in terms of co-designing and developing a solution that is tailored to the community. So that's also part of our community assessment approach. So while we are developers, but we are also community builders. So we are looking at, a more comprehensive approach. And we do work with the service providers as well, because homeless solutions are tailored to the individuals that we do serve. There's many homeless subpopulations. There's kapuna, there's youth, there's homeless with pets, there's homeless living in cars. So there's many different subpopulations with different needs, and the facilities change based on those needs. So it's an extensive planning process, but we do it very expeditiously, efficiently. And we can execute pretty quick, just so long as we have really, as comprehensive as we can get buy-in from all the service stakeholders. So as it relates to currently for Iwilei, we know that there's been a population there. We are working with the county, and as Sam just mentioned, there's many different homeless solutions for the area. We're paying attention to what that service continuum looks like and where does Kaahali fit. And so for those who are ready, able, and willing to engage in a process that takes responsibility to pay rent and is willing to get to that next level and next step of their lives, that's essentially what we're executing on. For me personally, I've been, so I was a former director for IHS Institute for Human Services. And across the last 16 years, I've been developing a lot of facilities across Oahu in particular. I would argue that Kahawiki Village was truly our first kauhale. That essentially cut family homelessness in half. And up until just this year's point in time, count has pretty much maintained that. So, for me, it's very black and white. If you build homes, you move people off the streets, you get them stable. And the more you build and the more you provide inventory to the continuum, the more you can actually help stabilize the area. So, we have a lot of success under our portfolio. And now with Homemade executing with the governor, we're executing on Kaahali statewide, but primarily most of them will be here in Honolulu or Oahu in particular. So is there anything else you want me to add? For the lot that we're assessing. So, what are we calling it?
I don't know the name.
Because we want to let Sharon know. Yeah, that's the name of the lot.
So it's the future of it is the Iwilei Civic Center. So we've referenced it as the future site. For that lot, that would be if we're going to build there and execute there, it's going to be a temporary site. So, that is the future area where the rail is going to come through. There's also going to be some other developments for the area. I personally work in the Dole Cannery building with Councilman Cook. So there is a whole Evil master development plan that we're in tune with. And so, despite just being there, if that is a site, if that's going to be a temporary site, there's still potential for the area's solutions beyond 8 years.
Right?
Yeah, so a part of the build out of that 75 Kauhales in Ivile, we've already met with 808 senior resident management and ownership. And then we're also going to meet with
215 North King Street?
215 North King Street. Yeah, that's the address.
215 North King Street, and you got the state building.
Right behind there. Right.
Residency, yeah.
Right. And so in July, we're going to have a resident meeting with the 808 senior residents. So to keep them. Yeah. And we met with the management. Yeah. They were supportive. I think they just needed to understand more about, what was going to be there and the security, et cetera, and stuff. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So just real quick, so yeah, I've been going back and forth with them and 215. So do we have any questions from anyone in the audience? Hearing none.
I have my hand up.
Hold on, 1 minute. The audience first, meaning those that are in my room, those that are here. I'll get to online in just a second. Thank you. All right, so seeing none in the audience, now we'll go to anyone online. We start on, hold on. Oh, Candace, how you doing?
Hello,
Can you hear me?
hi. Yes, I can hear you. And I thank you very much for, having these representatives from the Kauhale, the planned Kauhale and Ivile here at the neighborhood board meeting, because, this is something that was brought to our attention. I am a resident of 215 North King Street, which is on Ivile Street and North King Street. And when Ernest, when you mentioned this like months ago, that Governor Green and the city was planning a collaboration, or what I guess it's Governor Green's project, of a Kauhale directly across the street from us. I mean, we were just shocked. I've gone to board meetings here at our building, and the site manager, the board of directors had no clue that a Kauhale was being planned for across the street from our residents. And as you know, we also have an outstanding claim right now against the city, asking them for financial assistance because of the previous homeless encampments that were all aligned along the perimeter of our fence. And I think I've sent you pictures of the fires that were caused, the damage that was caused to our property. My question to the developers, I'm very familiar with Hawaii Homemade, because I'm familiar with that project in Kalailoa. I work, one of my side gigs, was working for a nonprofit that helps provide grant money towards that project, and also Friends of Hawaii Charities that provides funds for IHS as well. But my question is, and for the gentleman who used to work for IHS as well, our concern is that not for the people who access the shelter, who actually use the shelter, stay at the emergency homeless shelters. Our concern is about the non-compliant homeless, and these are not families. These are single men. These are mentally ill. These are drug users. These are people who operate bicycle chop shops. What about these homeless encampments on the street who refuse to go into the emergency shelters? Is the government, are the government representatives, the organizations going to take responsibility for these, or just wash their hands? Because, over the last 2 months since the Ivile Resource Center opened up and the rest stop opened up, we haven't seen less homeless encampments. We've seen more. They've moved all over the place. I mean, now they're not in front of Ernest's workplace, by the Oahu Railway Transit. And, they've gotten off the sidewalk on our side of the street. But, I'm looking out right now at Ala Park, and there's multiple tents illegally camped out at Ala Park when no camping is allowed at Ala Park. You know, there are people like lined up in the doorways from from River Street all the way to Oahu Market. And I see, and when we walk in the morning to go to the bank or to go shopping, I see them pooping in the doorways. You're attracting, I mean, I know that your responsibility, you want to have a shelter for every taste and every flavor. But what about for the people who, you're going to attract that do not take advantage of the emergency shelters? Because you can't like tie them up and force them into the shelter. Does any of these organizations, does the city or state have any responsibility? What are they going to say about the non-compliant homeless that they can't force into the shelters but are going to line our streets? How are you going to be enforcing that and and preventing like more illegal encampments coming out and just camping outside these shelters? Because Sumner Street has not been cleared yet. They're directly across the street from IHS. IHS hasn't washed their hands of that. I mean, they don't do anything to try to clear the encampment that's across the street.
Hi, Candace. Thank you so much for your comments and questions. I'll let the government officials here comment to the specifically to the enforcements. What I will say, just for clarification, is Kauhale is not a shelter. This is not a shelter program. This is permanent housing. This is an opportunity for people who are willing to take action to live in an affordable housing solution and get into the next stage of their lives. Now, what we do is we build a continuum of housing, and it does start with emergency shelter. There are multiple different types of shelters that are tailored to different subpopulations. Based on those opportunities for stabilization, and there's also other stabilization centers. EMI PIHA is one for substance abuse users who are willing to engage in detox medication. That's an opportunity for them to get off drugs. If at that moment, however, they're willing to go into a permanent home and they do not want to return to the streets, you need a Kauhale type of environment for them to be safe and to have a roof over their head so they can take that next step in their journey. So we're really looking at a continuum here, and I'm not saying that we're building that full continuum, but for Kauhale, that's where it fits. So there are emergency shelters, there are transitional housing programs, there are permanent housing programs. So I wouldn't argue that Kauhale is going to attract people into a shelter. We're not building a shelter. I believe that there's many other options, and I believe Sam had mentioned that he'll share with everyone the continuum of other options and how the city and enforcement decides to engage. I think there's a different comprehensive strategy outside of Kauhale that I'll let them comment to.
Yeah, I think Sam and I can answer the question regarding law enforcement. So this is a universal question that we've heard, Mr. Chairman and board members. You're going to bring a Kauhale in our neighborhood. You're just going to bring more homelessness and more crime. And that's false. That's false. Okay, so here's the situation. You've got sidewalks with tents, structures, and people that are homeless sleeping on the sidewalks. We can't traverse on the sidewalks because they're there. I get that. With a Kauhale, those sidewalks should be cleared and the structures, the tents should all be removed. This is actually a talk that we had with governor and mayor. We can do this. We can finally have full enforcement. I know there's a case in the Supreme Court, Grants Pass versus Johnson. But the point is this: if law enforcement removes, I'm the homeless guy and I'm on a sidewalk, I've got a tent. Law enforcement can remove me if I'm blocking the walkway. Absolutely. I've got a tent. They could remove that structure. Here's where it gets kind of, in the gray area. Do they have a soft landing for me to stay at? Grants Pass, the argument was, I don't have anywhere else to stay but the sidewalk. So in this case, though, present day right now, if we have a Kauhale, if we have a bed, if we have a shelter, if we have a place, a safe zone available for me, the homeless guy, then yes, the police can remove me and they can remove my tent. So that's part of the reason why we're continually building Kauhale, because I said earlier, people have the right to feel safe in their neighborhoods. And that's another thing that Governor Green and Mayor Blangiardi talked about at length with us, Sam and I, to make sure eventually the more Kauhale we get, the more beds we get, the more we're going to clear the streets. And I think Sam wanted to invite you as well as the board members at the 808 senior meeting if he had more questions too, because we'll have our operator there. But I'm going to turn it over to Sam because he had additional things to say.
I'm not gonna kind of belabor everything because actually John said it perfectly. Candice, you know, we can come and visit you. We'll talk through it with your lead, the management team. I mean, I want to engage with your community there and at least let you know that the beds of many flavors is for those who are on those sidewalks. And so if we don't have those beds, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to stay right on the sidewalk. And so that's why we're in a rush to get those beds open sooner than later so that there's no excuse that we don't have enough shelter space or, you know, permanent housing options for the homeless. And so that's part of what the strategy is.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Candace. I'm going to answer some of those questions later with you. Next, we're going to go to our board, seeing nobody else from the audience except for Candace. We'll start with Board Member Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. And gentlemen, thank you for coming tonight. I wonder, because I want to be able to take back some information to my constituents. Can you pick one person to give us a 5-point summary like a 10th grade journalism student would have? What's the who, what, where, when, and why of the topic of this tonight? I note that it says potential Cal Holly development. Is it really going to happen? If so, when? Some brief statistics. Just can you recap what's going on tonight? And secondly, just to echo the concerns expressed by our constituent, Candace. Yeah, every month we do show images of Sumner Street, Ivole Street. I was there this morning. Did I hear correctly that once this Cal Holly is put together, that we will then actually have enforcement of sidewalk rules? Do you know that the capacity will be enough to address the issues that are right there in that focal area neighborhood? Because yes, as citizens, we feel more and more every day that we are not allowed to enjoy the environment. We're actually being impressed into our own homes and other environments because we can't enjoy the outdoors. Just wanted to ask that of your team. Thank you.
I think, I know you asked for one point. Or we think we have the bullet points. Okay, August of this year will be the first. I believe the 75 unit chemo by the Civic Center. I'm working with Sam Moku for the medical respite Cal Holly. This is going to be for the guy that's duly diagnosed that has a difficult time. Instead of going to acute care bed space at $3,900 a night or state hospital at $1,200 a night, we're going to have them in this center for medical respite with Dr. Miskovich running that. And Core, Jim Ireland. Okay, so now, is it going to clear the streets entirely? We'd like to say yes in time. I'm not trying to, run away from the answer. We need beds. We've got over 1,000 homeless in the downtown area, another 1,000 on the west side. We need capacity. Now, even if we had all the beds, there's still going to be a few people that it's not against the law to be homeless if they want to be homeless, but it's against the law to urinate and defecate on a sidewalks or a storefront. And if that happens, if I'm the guy that does it, guess what? I get arrested. Nobody gets a free pass. I get it. Now, if I go to court and judge is looking at me and I don't know the wrongfulness of my conduct, guess what? I go to the state hospital. I cost $1,200 a day, taxpayer money, until I figure out what I did was wrong. Pennies on a dollar. Send me to a medical Cal Holly that can help me. Nonviolent, but I've got medical issues. Then we have a drug addiction at maybe $120 a day compared to $1,200 a day of taxpayers' money. So that's what we're trying to do. Everything is not going to be black and white and cleaned up in one day. It's going to take time. We think we have the solution, and we think moving forward, this is a very good plan. We have to think outside of the box. If we're trying to do the same thing that we've been doing for the past 30 years, that's a definition of insanity. Everybody knows that. So we do have a plan, and I'm going to hand this over to the chairman. We have made significant updates on this, but this is the plan that Sam and I, we're working on. And I think you want to add a few more things.
But Sam, if this is on a temporary basis because this is the Evilay Civic Center site. What happens after that?
And so, so board members, please, at this point, ask a question. Then we'll do, if we have time, we'll go ahead and I'll let you guys ask another question. But right now, one question, please. But Kevin, there you go. Go ahead. Please answer his question.
You know, where it is, the shelters that we're building in Evilay are, you know, are part of the TOD, rail TOD. So we're looking at 3 to 5 years within, you know, 3 to 5 years of having these shelters right now. What happens after that? You know, we got to figure that out.
Thank you. Go ahead, Board Member Thompson, please.
Hopefully by then, no more homeless.
Thank you, people that came, and I'm hopeful that this will work and hopefully help some of these homeless. I especially want to highlight the need for the medical respite. I work in the emergency department, and a lot of these people are just spending the night there. And you want to talk about expensive, you know, a room in the emergency department is thousands of dollars a night, and we just can't discharge because there's nowhere to send them, and they have medical issues as well as other issues. So I encourage you to continue that. My question is for actually Mr. Carvalho. You said you used to work at IHS. A lot of the patients that I have say they don't want to go to IHS. So I'm curious if you learned anything from IHS that we're going to kind of bring forward to these other buildings and Kauhales that, you know, is it more just a variety of situations, or what will kind of help encourage people to go to these areas that so we can finally, you know, provide something for everyone so that we can actually get people off the street?
Great question. I think you need a continuum of options. You know, if somebody's saying they don't want to go to IHS, that doesn't mean they're not willing to engage in some other solution. You know, Representative at the time, Mizuno, helped with the airline relocation program. We were sending about, you know, just a little over 200 people a year because there was a safety net plan on the mainland that worked for them. Some people don't want to go into shelters, and so we had the Housing First program, and we partner with landlords and property managers for direct subsidized housing in scattered site housing across the island. Some people need that stabilization and shelter, and they're willing to engage in that. Some people need specialty shelters. Those are medical respite facilities. There's vet homes for veterans that they connect with like type, you know, folks that share some common, you know, skill set or some common experience. So there's many different options along the continuum. And what we need to do is build out those options so that there is some place or an option to go. It really starts with, on the outreach side, trust and relationship development, and really understanding what option is going to work best for each individual. And from there, what's the path to purchase, so to speak, into the housing option that works for them. The reason why we're building out Kauhale is because we have lost hundreds of transitional housing beds across the state over the last decade. And so this is a gap in the housing continuum that just has not been paid attention to. So a lot of people need just that, you know, that nominal $500 a month, low rent in a tiny home. And a lot of people judge me for my tiny homes, but our clients love it. It's, you know, when you have no place to lock your things in a secure place and feel safe in your own private space, I would argue that maybe some of those folks that didn't want to go to IHS, this might be an option that they're actually willing to engage in, and it might actually help them thrive, and they might connect with the community. So it really depends on the individual. Solutions have to be tailored to people. You cannot force people into what we feel the best options are for them. So that's part of our job. It's to listen, to engage, and to really kind of respond accordingly with the housing solutions that we can provide. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Thank you. So next we go with Board Member Isokani, please.
Hey, thanks for being here and just for your work tackling such a huge, dire, intimidating problem. I'm a big fan of the Kauhales, so thank you for what you're doing. Chemo, I mean, just keeping the operating or the construction costs down. I think it's $25K I heard to construct a unit, which is phenomenal. My question is on the operating cost structure. I think you said $120 a day. I saw a Civil Beat article that kind of mentioned those same numbers, something like $25,000 to $47,000 per unit per year. When I do the math on that, that's about $2,000 to $4,000 per month, and you know that's more than rent for a lot of people. Now I get what you're saying, and what Board Member Thompson said. That's a lot cheaper than going to the hospital for sure. But what kind of ideas are you looking at to bring the operating costs per year down?
Great question. Operating costs, we actually have a couple of Kauhale that are actually, for example, Waikiki Vista, former Tokai University dorm. We've got 48 units there. 4 units are being used as office space. Appreciate what Sam Moku and the city has done. We partnered with them on that. City owns the property. We're paying for operational costs. About $4.3 million, the contract for the state. It's going to house, at the end of the day, when we have it fully operational, it's going to house about 120 to 140 occupants. Currently, we have, is it 12 families? Well, 50, about 12, 20 families? 20 families. So we're going to probably house another 24 more families. When you start to take out 120, 150, 200 homeless, and all of a sudden another 50 here, another right here, another 75, you're getting that number up to 500. Now you're getting it towards 1,000. You're going to make a big difference on homelessness. And we're going to be able to at least do a better job at clearing the sidewalks. But thank you. And we are working on operational costs to keep them down. Good question. Thanks.
Let me also just help you out directly with your question. So 75 units, $500 a month, that's about 37,000 and some change. So, you know, as part of the development process, oftentimes in our affordable housing, our state's affordable housing strategy has been to subsidize the development of housing. Our approach is to bring down the cost of construction to pass on that affordability. So that's what allows us to actually keep rents really low. Now, rental income offsets the costs directly, but more importantly, and the essence of Kauhale is to bring together a community so that there's also shared responsibility in managing and taking care of the Kauhale. And so when Governor Green asked Homey to step up and to do this, part of the design of all our Kauhale was to bring social capital to people who didn't have any. The number one reason why a person will fall into homelessness, so there's a lot of people that fall into crisis all the time, but maybe they have a friend or a loved one or a family member that they can rely on. But those who end up in shelters or on streets is because they have no social safety net or no social capital. So developing a Kauhale helps to build that community impact, but by then infusing responsibility like security, landscaping, and going through a ledger, and I don't like to use the word penciling, but you know, to really pencil out the true cost of operating against what value the residents bring in, plus what rent we're able to bring in by making it deeply affordable. So there's a lot of financial consideration that goes into the design just to bring down that operational cost over time. The state is upfronting costs, but we really need to see this longitudinally, probably over the next 10 years, just to see that ledger go down. Okay.
Chair, real fast, sorry. The cost will go down. So I'm a homeless guy. Sam's the operator. He gets me in there, and guess what? He signs me up for Medicaid. So now healthcare is covered. In case I'm a frequent flyer and could cost $1 million in healthcare costs, by Medicaid coverage, we're going to reduce the cost. Sam's going to make sure I'm on SNAP, food stamps. $448 million a year comes from federal food stamp money. Moody's Analytics did a study. It generates about $1.70 to the local economy, multiplier effect. Who would have thought homeless and low-income families can generate nearly $1 billion to the state's economy? Finally, as an operator, Sam's going to make sure I sign up for either SSI, SSDI, or if I don't qualify, general assistance for a disability. If I get that, I might get 400, I might get 900. At the end of the day, we're going to have every homeless person pay rent, not much, $300 after the first 6 months, $300 a month. So we're putting money back into the system, even though we're homeless. So that's going to bring down costs. And eventually, if we can, after 2 years, government can step off and let the people that are currently living there become the navigators and run it. And that way we save everybody money. Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right, so next we'll go with our Vice Chair, Sean Fitzsimmons. He'll be followed by Board Member Armstrong, and I'll end this up, yeah, because we're going to close this down at that point. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the presentation. Appreciate it. Appreciate what you're doing. You guys are correct. Same solution is not going to, fix this problem. But we were talking around this issue that Candace brought up. And it's kind of interesting because when you spoke, earlier, you said HPD is going to relocate the homeless to the Kauhale, right? And as we know, we can't force the homeless to use it. And so you gave the poop example, right, of how like things can get relocated in that way, but that's a very acute example. What is the protocol of that quote unquote relocation? How is that defined? Like, is HPD tasked to take people in custody? Or like how, like what's the protocol by which a homeless person gets relocated to a kahale? Thanks.
Or else if he's violating of trespass. Right. Right, a lot of it has to do, yeah, because I'm not, part of it depends on the bill that is before the governor. If I'm not of the right mental condition, yeah. So part of it, I anticipate the governor will sign it into law or let it roll into law without a signature. That's gonna be huge because then Sam is, he can take, yeah, so if he can take me in if I'm acting a little, yeah, he has the right. And instead of maybe going to prison, or maybe even going to state hospital to save costs, we might have a kauhale that's medical respite for patients of my nature, which would be a lot less money for the taxpayer. That, and I think, Sam, are we answering your question? So I'm the homeless guy. It's 2 a.m. and I'm loitering right in front of, a business that's closed. Police stops by. By the way, he does electronic checkout and knows that, hey, actually, Mizuno, I know who you are. You're actually in the kauhale further down the street at Iwalei. You got to get off this property because you're trespassing. And you know what? I don't mind. I'll take you back. It's only down the street, or you walk back. But if you continue to stay here, I'm gonna have to ticket you, arrest you. We're okay with that. Some homeless advocates will get mad at Sam and I for saying this, but we're on top of that because we've come to the point where when that person threw the acid on the Chinese teacher, that shook government to the core. We can't have that. And so that's why the governor and mayor and the other governors from the other counties got together and said, we have to address homelessness, but we have to have our neighbors feel safe in their own neighborhood. So.
But just HPD is gonna have to get trained.
Oh, no. Good question. So you want to tell them about what happened about the I guess the sweep and then mayor, and then they lined up the ATVs and they're able to do that.
I think you're just talking about when HPD comes into a situation where, so part of that bill that the governor is signing is they have that ability. HPD already has that ability to make the call on the mental illness side. This will allow them to take them to the BHCC, which is in the Iwalei Center, which is the Behavioral Health Center that DHS just took over. And they have the beds to take them in and provide the mental health services. So that's part of the puzzle. And it's actually an important part of it because, right, the majority of I should say the majority, there's a lot of mental health, drug addicted, homeless out there. And so part of this strategy from the state, passing this law and then having the BHCC and Iwalei Center is trying to get them the help they need and not just let them, do what they want, on the sidewalks.
All right, thank you. Go ahead to Board Member Armstrong, please.
Thank you. I don't really care which gentleman here answers this, but I just, I think I have a long and I hope consistent record of being supportive of whatever this state needs in order to address the housing and homeless situation that we find. But if the chair could just indulge me for a second, I just want to make sure on behalf of our citizenry that I understand this. The Iwalei Center, or whatever we're calling this future development, and correct me if that's not the word, is 3 to 5 years off. Go to the microphone, please.
No, when we build it, the expectant life of that facility will be 3 to 5 years before TOD comes.
Okay, so then the development we're talking about today starts in mid or late August, somewhere in that neighborhood, and will exist for 3 to 5 years.
Basically everything in that area.
That includes IHS and everything else.
Yeah, well, that's already there, but I'm talking about this initiative that we're talking about. So are we calling that permanent or not? Is that considered permanent, being 3 to 5 years in length, or?
It's not going to be permanent.
Okay, all right, it's not going to be permanent. And, and,
Okay, so
and are we talking about a multi-story facility? We're talking about the Kahalis that this neighborhood is already hosted, in that they're tiny homes, and there's, you know, enough for 75 people, you said, but they're in that same vein, or is this a multi-story kind of thing?
No, this is just
Single?
single tiny
Rooms,
homes
yeah.
that would be built, 75 of them. They'll provide temporary supportive housing, and then you move them along the line to get, you know, an
Okay.
apartment, Section 8.
And then my final question, I don't mean to cut you off, but I know I'm going to get caught off
Go
by the
ahead.
chair. And so my final question is, given that it seems like most of us, or some of us, are not really clear about what we're doing, you can better believe the neighborhood won't be. So who has a communication plan for how we're going to discuss this with the neighborhood entities, the nonprofits? I mean, I'm not talking about the ones that you're already working with, like IHS and those types, but the churches, the faith community, and other opinion leaders and clubs, civic clubs, so that instead of opposing this, we're going to embrace it. So that will be my last question. I thank the chair for his indulgence.
you're welcome. Go ahead, answer, please.
So let me just say, I'll give it to Kimo, but John and I, since we've been in the position, have already reached out with all the faith-based community through, what was it called? Who coordinated it?
The shelter and another group, and Pastor Cardenas.
Yeah. So we did have a Zoom meeting explaining exactly what we're going to do and where we need the help in all of the communities. So in my road trip on the town hall meeting, which is there's one tonight in Waipahu, I always speak to when we have our town hall meetings where we have them, I always call the faith-based people within the community and talk to them before we even step foot into their community about what we are looking to do within their community. So yeah, and obviously Mary is a great communicator. His comm teams is excellent, and you know, and as well as
Okay, no, I got to go to him next time. Please, Kimo will help you.
So there's, in terms of communication plan, I don't think there's no plan, but in terms of community outreach and listening to the community, that's already started. That's what we're doing here tonight too. So we're engaging with the community, we're on a listening tour, and we're really trying to capture what we're building specifically, because we want to make sure that we're doing it smarter and intentional and being very thoughtful about who we're building for. So, you know, this is it's part of their development process. I'm contracted with the state to execute on a community relations plan. And that's what we've been doing for the last few months, actually. So, you know, I think once we have that program set and the operator has more specific programming as it relates to some things I've heard, security, access control, you know, just some other situations, then from there will be more of an intentional communications, call it plan, whatever, in terms of what we share back out to the community. So that's just sort of how the process works. And then I'm sorry, just to back one other question that you had, permanent housing by law and definition is anything over 2 years. So even though it'll be 5 to 8 years in terms of its total operation, by program, that's why we say permanent. So just, but I understand from where you're sitting, it sounds different. So just to clarify where the difference in definition is.
All right.
But
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead to Board Member McDonald, then I'll end this up.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I want to start by saying I appreciate your effort. This is my third term on this board, and for the entire time I've been a member, the hottest and most biggest concern that we have in this community is homelessness and the crime associated with homeless. So I am pleased to see some initiatives addressing this issue, and particularly that it seems like you're going to be taking a more aggressive stance. We know the old proverb of the carrot and the stick, and I think that for a long time now there's been a little too much carrot, and we need to be using a little more stick to address our homeless situation. So I do appreciate the effort that you're making, and I want to thank you, gentlemen, for at least attempting to address it. I am confused about a couple of the issues that were brought up. The first one is just lightly, somebody mentioned that we're going to be generating income through this program. I think it's pretty basic economics that money that comes from government grants and taxpayer funded things is not really generating income. It comes from the taxpayers and actually takes from the community and not it's not bringing money in. It's money that came from out of the community. So maybe you could clarify how getting money from government programs is generating an income. I'm a little confused with that. The next, so that would be my first issue. My second issue would be, why does it have to be here? I think a lot of people are in this near this vicinity. I think a lot of people are concerned that a facility like this, people will come to this facility, and then when they get out or it brings them to here, they become familiar with here, this particular neighborhood, and then they don't want to leave this neighborhood. And so it attracts more of this sort of element. And my final question is, as I'm noticing, it's many times it's promised more increased police presence. Now, we already have an issue in this community with being promised extra police presence and police hours and beats here, and we've been promised this, and the city comes back with, well, we don't have the manpower, we don't have enough officers, we want to do this, but we don't have the officers to do it. So when you say increased police presence, does that mean they're going to say that they're going to be like, what's the guarantee that the officers will actually show up if we already don't have enough officers to meet the needs that we currently have? Are they going to promise that because of this?
Mr. McDonald, can you please bring it to conclusion?
So I think you get the point of my question is, what is the guarantee that we're actually going to have more police instead of just they're going to say, okay, well, we're going to assign more police to this area, but if we don't have the manpower, then we can't do it.
All right, thank you. And if we can be brief on this.
I can only answer question one. It's out of my lane to answer those other two. When it comes to Kama'oku is another kahale we developed. It's in West Oahu. And you're right, it starts with housing subsidies that does support their access into affordable rents, despite the low rent. But that does taper. One of the most successful housing programs are what we call shallow subsidies, and that's time limited. So if you give them time limits and they know that they have to taper off over time, they have to build that permanent responsibility if they know they want to keep their home. So it's all part of the programming. There is a financial model to that. It does change per kahale because different subpopulations need different levels of time, and they also they qualify for different subsidy programs. So it's a very dynamic formula per kahale, but there is at least an approach to it that we do need to test out and just get started and try to figure it out. I'll let these gentlemen answer the other two questions.
Yeah, I want to take the not my backyard question first, and I'll come back to the second question. The thought of saying not my backyard is going to continue to allow homelessness to get worse. I don't know what else. Hey, this is not black, white, male. Kalihi, we got 3 kauhale in Kalihi, so it's all in my backyard. I was a legislator for 18 years there. So you have to change your mindset, or you're going to continue to have homelessness continue to grow. That's insanity. We got to change the way we're thinking if we're going to address this straight up. Second, we are bringing in money. I'll make myself clear. Food stamps, SNAP, that's purely federal money. If we're bringing in $448 million a year from federal money, and it generates $1.70 to the economy, nearly $1 billion, that's a good thing. So at Kauhale, we need to make sure we sign everyone up for SNAP. We need to bring more money into our state. It's a good thing. If we get people, now our medical people know right here. If I go, I can be a frequent flyer, you know this. There are some homeless that will spend up to $1 million in unnecessary medical benefits. It causes taxes and insurance costs to go sky high. You're targeting me, the frequent flyer. If you can get a kauhale from me and I can be $120 a day compared to $1 million a year, that's a great investment. So it's to protect our finite resources that we have for homeless. Finally, I didn't mention this, but we passed the bill last year. I drafted it. It was the return to home bill, returning mainlanders to their home, or if you're from another country, to your country. Connie Mitchell runs this at IHS. Sam, you remember the last time we did a press conference for the point in time count. The good news is Neighbor Island's down, Oahu, 12% uptick. But one of the questions was, what are we doing about the mainlanders flying in? We are sending them back with the return to home money. In fact, we only put 100,000. It's been so successful. We're probably going to put another $250,000 in there, saving our state taxpayers probably millions of dollars. I will tell you how, if you think about what's the numbers, I asked Connie Mitchell when we did the press conference, and I asked her, in the last 2 weeks, how many people have we sent home to mainland or Guam or Micronesia? Sure. 17 in 2 weeks. So we have programs that work. We just got to stick with it, and we got to think outside of the box. So that's all I got to say. Thanks.
I can't address the HPD issue because I think the city itself is struggling struggling with hiring. I know HPD is struggling, and so when you say like HPD is going to help us with this effort,
You're promising more HPD presence. Is that an empty promise? How are you going to get?
Okay,
what-
hold on.
Yeah.
Let him finish to speak. Go ahead.
So-
Please speak.
HPD presence in this area you're talking about? Well, I can't promise that. It is what it is. Whatever we have here in Chinatown, downtown is what we have. But when there's a time for, to help us with our homeless issues, we're not going to call HPD first to help us with our homeless issues first. We're going to ask our service providers to reach out, use our core team to reach out before we get to that point. Hopefully, before we get to the point where HPD has to get involved. So we want to kind of strategize with that, and we understand that HPD resources are very vital to the community all over. So.
All right. Okay, so this question is done. You can take this in the back room after this. Let's move on. Let's Sam, please. We're gonna move on. If he wants to speak to you folks, he can speak to you folks after this. I'm gonna end this right now. First of all, Chinatown ends at River, although District 1's police department takes care of Ala Park. 215, the residency, the senior residency, and where I work at ORNL, for the state, that is under District 5. That is a total different police department. Yeah, so this is a Kalihi police department. So those are two different ones. So they cannot promise what's going to happen in Kalihi. First of all, this Kahale is not being built in our neighborhood because whoever drew the neighborhood board drew it wrong. They didn't understand that it is technically Chinatown, but they built it wrong and gave so much area to Kalihi, which they can't even handle it at that point. But that belongs to the Kalihi neighborhood board, and that's something that I'm asking them to help out with, and this is why I'm going for a border change. Second of all, I want to thank you guys for being here. Third of all, as far as what they're talking about, the money-wise, so I worked for Lower Care, as many of you know, for 10 years. And let me tell you what, we had a lot of our members that were on the streets, that were going into those hospitals 20 to 30, almost 30 times a day, daily. That is costing us money. Every time they get picked up by those ambulance and taken to this ambulance, that's running over $7,000 a day just for that. And it's ridiculous. And it was putting a strain on Queens. So that has to be taken care of. Unfortunately, not everybody wants to get into IHS, and I know a lot of the reasons. And understand that, but we have to work with the people to make everything right, because we can no longer say clean up our homeless situation. So we end up sweeping the homeless, and they go into different neighborhoods. They go to, when I do neighborhood boards, walk with other neighborhood boards, I see people from Chinatown, in Mekali, in Mo'iliili, in Waiho, and all that. That's not what we want to do. We want to make sure that we have a place for people to go. We have to be compassionate, but we have to still have tough love. But we do need to address the issues that the people at the senior residency at Evile and 215, because I speak a lot with them and I'm very close with them, and they come to me for everything. And the biggest thing is they want to know is about security. I sorry that I missed you Thursday. I took last week Thursday off. You came to speak to my co-workers and I wasn't there that day, DHS. And but a lot of them, their biggest question is security. So you don't have to answer that. I'm just pointing that out. Okay, just send me the information, and if you can, go ahead and send me a copy of what you just sent around. Send it to me. I'll distribute it to every single board member and add it to our Google Drive. And anybody else that's not from our neighborhood that wants it can always go to Neighborhood Board 13 Google Drive and look at it. All right. Appreciate everything you guys do. Did you guys want us to take a vote on this? Yes or no? No. Okay. All right. Okay. So no need. But thank you for coming to the community and talking about this. Appreciate it. Thank you, John. Thank you, Sam. Thank you to Kimo with less 1A than I do. Yeah, that's 2A's. 3A, yeah. All right, so next we're going to be moving on to item 3, number B, establishing vending machines with Narcon in Chinatown. So do we have Heather Lusk on the line?
Yes, hello, Chair. I'm here. And could I share slides on the screen? Would that be okay, Chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay, let me go ahead and do that. Why I'm putting that up, ironically, I'm a Kauhale operator chair in the Middle Street. And so I've worked with all the folks that just spoke. We've been open since February. And even though we're in the Kalihi area, it's been very successful. So just wanted to share that we've had an incredible experience with our Kauhale. I will note, though, we don't have any residents in the area. So it is a place away from community. But just wanted to share our positive experience with Kauhale. But I'm not here for that. I was asked to come in and talk about naloxone vending machines and will not try to take too much of your time. I'm Heather Lusk with the Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center. We've been at the center of trying to address the opioid crisis and overdose in Hawaii. What you're seeing here is the latest data from the Hawaii Department of Health. The 2023 data just came out. We had the most deaths ever in the islands because of overdose from opioids, specifically fentanyl. As you see here, they're estimating 105 of the overdoses were related to fentanyl. So just to share a bit about naloxone, it's a very safe medication. You cannot get high from it. You cannot abuse it. In fact, it's the opposite. Naloxone blocks the receptors in the brain, which means anybody who's in an opioid overdose will, the opioids will no longer work. And the person can get restored breathing. A worry with opioid-related overdose is stopping of breathing or respiratory, and then followed by death, unfortunately. There are no symptoms, no side effects, unless the person is opioid dependent. And if they're opioid dependent, they would go into withdrawal and could have symptoms. And naloxone, again, cannot be abused because it doesn't have that kind of impact and lasts anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 minutes and sometimes needs to be repeated. You may know that the City Council passed a bill, Bill 28, that was signed by Mayor Langiardi last year that required as of January 1, all bars and restaurants on Oahu now need to have naloxone. Here is what a kit looks like. It comes with two 4 milligram nasal naloxone. This is what we give out, and you'll see here a brochure that us and Papa Ololakahi have developed together. We now have 30 vending machines across the islands. Thank you to the Hawaii Department of Health, H3RC, as well as the CDC. This is what one looks like. I think this is on Hawaii Island. And as you see, it's very clear. It does not cost any money. It just has pushing a button and a naloxone kit is dispensed. Just to share a specific few things about it, it's made here locally with Alakai vending. They've modified it with the wrap I showed you. It is free to access. Thus far, the 30 machines that we acquired went out into the community. I'm in process. I just presented to the opioid task force to get another 15 machines. And as you see here, we're looking at just about under $7,000 per machine, which includes the machine itself, the wrap, and others. It does need to have, as you see here, access to electricity, and it must be out of the sun and cannot go above 100 degrees on a regular basis. We currently have 30 vending machines across the islands. They are in every county. We have one at most correctional centers because of the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, several community mental health or behavioral health centers. We have 2 at Queens Hospital, several qualified health centers, substance abuse treatment, and a few nightclubs. So I want to show you on our website, we have a list of all of the sites. This is Chinatown. As you see, this one at the bottom is actually my site. You see we have ones at Queens Hospital. We have another one at the north end of Chinatown at Queens, the behavioral health unit at Kekela. And this one's actually at one of the nightclubs in Chinatown, Scarlet. Right now, those are the only ones in the Chinatown area, despite the research saying Chinatown is one of the areas with a higher rate of overdose. The Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center is working with the Liquor Commission to provide free naloxone training to a lot of bars and restaurants. We provide free training to anybody who wants it. Most recently, we trained actually the city council and staffers at Honolulu Hale. And we also have an online training for free. And sorry, this is me being very happy with our vending machine here and our Kaka'ako site. And just wanted to share some specifics about the machine and see if you had any questions for me. Chair, I really appreciate the opportunity to present about naloxone, about the machines, and to see if there's any questions or ways that we can support. We can, again, provide. We'll be providing these for free, and the Hawaii Department of Health has been providing the naloxone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
We had some. All right, thank you. Do we have anyone in our audience who would like to ask Heather a question? All right, hearing none, seeing none. Anyone online that is not a board member? I see no one online. We'll go ahead and we'll start off with Sean first. Vice Chair, go ahead, Sean.
Hi, Heather. Thank you for your presentation. I appreciate what you guys doing. When I visit like some clients in Palava, I grab as many Narcans as I can. I see the vending machine there, and I try to give them away if I see people that need them. I guess like the question I have for you is more general. There's a whole bunch of opioid settlement money coming to the state of Hawaii. I think it's projected $82 million that's allocated to us. So far, the state of Hawaii has received 32.7 million and only spent 2.7 of the 32.7. And of that 2.7 million spent, 1.35 million was spent in Honolulu. My understanding is that the money is supposed to be allocated to the places that need the most services, right? And clearly, downtown is among the places in our state that shoulder the burden of the opioid crisis a lot more than other places like Kahala, for example, right? Aside from the Narcan vending, it's a twofold question, I guess. Aside from the Narcan vending machines that you guys are doing, which is great, are there any other ideas on how to use that money in our district to combat the opioid epidemic and the people suffering from it? And if so, what are the ideas? And number two, everything I've been reading about the money to Hawaii, the opioid money from Hawaii indicates that it goes to this like black hole where like we don't really know where it's getting distributed or who or why or how much. I was wondering if you had any insight onto that as well. Thanks. Sorry for the convoluted question.
No, thank you. I'll do my best. But again, I am a nonprofit and a community provider, so I can't formally answer for the state or the counties. But because I've been so involved with this, I can share a bit of information. So there's a statewide opioid working group that is spearheaded by the Hawaii Department of Health, Alcohol and Drug Abuse Division, and a man named Grant, who spearheads that team. And my understanding is that there's representatives from each county, because I've presented to them a couple of times, and that is the group that's making the statewide decisions. And then there is a portion of each the settlement that goes to each county. And my understanding is that at the city and county of Honolulu, I'm not sure if Mr. Moku is still there, but my understanding is it goes to EMS Dr. Ireland and Deputy Director Ian Santee is the lead. That's who I've been in contact because he now has a team over at the city, and actually we have a meeting next week to talk about collaboration. Excuse me, because one of our projects is that if there is an overdose, so for example, I don't know if you all heard, but there was an overdose, a public one on River yesterday. I don't know who the person was, but I just know from talking to the police and others that somebody was found, and they believe it was an overdose. And so the way that our collaboration with EMS would work after next week is that when EMS responds to a public overdose, it would allow they would contact us. It would allow my outreach workers to go out and do outreach. We have found that actually post overdose is a very pivotal time that people may actually be interested in treatment, either those impacted or those involved. We provide treatment and our conduits to treatment. So that's one example of where doing post overdose follow-up and offering treatment to people that might have been impacted. Excuse me. Let me get some water. I think that the two things that I would like to see a lot with the settlement money is treatment and having treatment on demand and having more, particularly you folks may know, we don't have a lot of detoxification sites. The only one I'm aware of was mentioned by chemo, which is IHS. There's no other medical detox, so we need some of that. We also need a lot of prevention. You may have heard that we had some young people, unfortunately, overdose because of experimenting and this kind of idea that one pill could kill or one time of using could be detrimental. There's a lot of focus on how do we talk to young people and others about the dangers of fentanyl being in so many medications. So prevention and treatment are two of the areas that I feel strongly about. And I do, many of us look at the tobacco settlement and want to make sure that we learn lessons from those dollars and they go back into, at least my perspective, the public health of preventing substance abuse and then treating those that have it. I can share with you grants information if you want to connect more with the state opioid folks. And again, my understanding at the city and county is that it's EMS Director Ireland and Deputy Director Santee in charge of the Oahu settlement funds. I hope that was helpful.
All right, is it done? Okay, thank you. So next we'll go first to Kevin Lai first, and then Mr. Thompson, who asked Board Member Thompson, and then you.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Lusk, if you could just recap for us the taxpayer costs for this program, or if it will be grant-based. What are the schedules for refilling these machines? When they become empty, is there an alert sent that they need to be refilled? Related to that, what, if any, mechanism prevents someone from coming and just cleaning out the machine all at once? This then brings me to the idea of just human nature. How does this program not just provide a sense of a safety net for doing something that is illicit, if not illegal in some venues? Because you have that sense that, oh, there's going to be a way to get out of this problem. Have we given up on trying to stop these activities in the first place? And is equal amount of funding being provided for trying to discourage or prevent harmful behavior? I know it's a tough situation, but I appreciate your comments on this. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I can get to you. And forgive me if there's some feedback. I apologize for my headset. I'll try to get to all of your answers or try to answer all of your questions. You are correct. We very much need to do both prevention to stop, which is some of the dollars I mentioned, I hope go into prevention as well as treatment, because you're right. The whole goal is to not even have people be using a substance that might kill them. At the same time, respectfully, my experience has been that I need somebody alive to help get them into recovery. And I've been heartbroken by some of the stories from parents that have lost kids that should be with us to graduate high school and do those. So what the research shows, because I had the same worry as you, I was worried that maybe people would, use naloxone, or I heard about these Narcan parties. So we looked into them, and the research does not support that people use more because of the safety net of naloxone. Because actually, what naloxone does is take away the high and take away the drug because it blocks. And so, in a weird way, for lack of a better term, it wastes that drug. And that's not, we actually have the opposite problem of people not wanting us to use naloxone on them because they don't want it to have that impact. As far as your other questions, again, very legitimate questions. We did a lot of research to learn about what was happening on the continent. I have been very worried about people taking too many. We are 8 months in, and that has not happened yet. Meaning most of us have signs saying, please don't take more than 2. And then to be honest, we've been so grateful that so the taxpayer money is not being used for this. It has been opioid settlement. I guess, which I assume is not taxpayer dollars, but I should probably make sure, for the naloxone. And then the new machines that I, again, put proposal for would be with opioid settlement money. As far as renewals, the way that we have done it is that we've done an MOA with the sites to work nobody can get a machine if we can't find someone who's willing to take care of it, which means daily check-ins and refilling as needed. So those are 2 requirements in order to get a machine, is to commit to doing those. And if that can't happen, we've already moved a couple machines from sites that could not maintain them because of those issues. Mr. Lai, did I answer? Was that you? I believe that was you. Did I answer all your questions?
Thank you, Ms. Luck.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll go ahead and move on to Board Member Thompson, please.
Thank you, and Chair, and thank you, Ms. Lusk, for being here and talking about this important issue. I am somewhat shocked to hear Dr. Lai poo-poo the harm reduction methods, which I think in many things in healthcare are shown to save lives, whether it's obesity or drug use or, you name it. But I also want to highlight what you said about kind of getting these wraparound services, because when you do reverse somebody with Narcan, that is actually one of the most dangerous points for that person to overdose again, because they go through withdrawal and it is so uncomfortable for them. They'll kind of do anything to get out of that situation. So it's actually a very high risk period for withdrawal, or the Narcan wears off and then they're resedated and they're back in the same situation. So any sort of follow-up that they get is great. My question is, similar to Board Member Fitzsimmons, how are we getting more Suboxone, and are we paying people to do Suboxone therapy to actually help people get off of opiates, which I think is what Board Member Lai is ultimately wanting. And that's where the money needs to go, because people can't actually get these services without insurance and things like that, and people aren't taking Medicaid. So, how do we make that next step?
Yeah, that's a great question, and something that we spend a lot of time on. We have over 300 patients on Suboxone here, doctor, and are actively trying to work. We have several hospitals that do warm handoffs from the emergency department. In fact, next week, the Bridge Project, I'm not sure if you've heard of them, which is out of California, which their whole role is trying to link and getting hospitals to induct and start people on Suboxone and then do warm handoffs to community, are actually coming to the islands, and are going to be meeting with some people, some emergency room providers, and us as well, to discuss how can us in the community support more inductions maybe in hospitals and then taking warm handoff. I will also report that we and many other providers have been, the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation are now doing Suboxone within the correctional facilities, some more than others. And then again, doing warm handoffs on the outside, so that when they get out of corrections, because many of you know, if we can grab folks when they get out of corrections and wrap services around, then hopefully not only will they not stay on the path to recovery, they probably won't reoffend, they're going to be less likely to be on the streets. And I think now, as you know, that you don't need a DEAX waiver for Suboxone, we've seen more people come online, and so we are hoping to continue to find this kind of partnerships where those of us in the community, there's many of us, it's not just my agency, that does Suboxone or treatment, how we can connect with the other healthcare providers for these warm handoffs. And so more, if you want to follow up with me, I'll just put my, or actually Chair has my information. I would love to follow up. We're always looking for ways to collaborate on expanding treatment. And then lastly, I'll say we're doing more telehealth. So for example, we have patients on Big Island and other places because of some of the telehealth relaxed regulations because of COVID. There's now a lot more we can do around treatment with telehealth. So lots more to come, but we're very hopeful that the opioid settlement, some of these movements with the providers and more community partners coming, that we will create a better network of providers to treat so that we can get people on the path to recovery.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so from this point on, I'm going to ask both the presenters and anyone else speaking to keep it to a minute. Ask the question, please, direct question. I'm sorry, just ask the direct question, and so we can get going. If not, we're never going to finish this agenda tonight.
My apologies, Chair.
Oh, no problem. Just asking you folks to keep it to questions. No need to say anything else. They ask the questions. That's it. All right. Go ahead. Board Member Armstrong, please. No, excuse me. Board Member McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair, and aloha, Heather. Thank you for being here. Just a couple of quick questions. First of all, I've heard a couple times mentioned that these vending machines are going to be in the correctional facilities, and I'm curious why that is, considering that the types of illegal substances that this treats are not allowed in our correctional facilities. So I don't know why they would need to have something like this to address that if they're not supposed to have that substance in there in the first place. And my second part of my question is, I run a bar here in Honolulu. We're a pretty busy bar in Mo'iliili. And I'm happy to announce to you that we are in compliance with the new law requiring us to have the Narcon packets. But these packets are quite expensive. And I know that you're giving everything that you've mentioned here is free. So how can I get, why does my business have to pay for this when you're pretty much giving them away on the street? Or can I go to the vending machine and pick up a couple of them out of there, and will that put my business in compliance with the law?
Yes. So first, answer your last question. Yes. You are welcome to go to one of the vending machines or follow up with me, and I can get you some kits. And that's true for anybody that's in the meeting right now. Your first question is correct. It's not, I should have clarified, the vending machine is not in the facility. It's on the way out for when people leave the facility. When people leave incarceration, they're at high risk of overdose because they probably have not been using while they've been in. And research shows that people who've had a period of abstinence are actually at greater risk. So it's there for people that are leaving. And the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation asked for the machines and wanted them so that they didn't have to give it out, but that it was there for people that left. So again, that they could hopefully save lives and hope that nobody overdose once they leave the facility. So good question.
All right. Thank you very much. Heather, thank you very much for coming. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you very much for coming down. We do appreciate it. We'll get back in contact with you. I get Narcon myself from the VA. So the VA gets me to help out people in the streets too. So I do understand. But thank you very much for your time. We'll definitely keep in contact with you. Probably going to ask if you can come on more of our board meetings. Okay. Appreciate
Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do and all of the ways that you help our community be safer. We appreciate you. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. So next we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to item 3, number C, dry on fire retardant product presentation. Peter Soares, please.
Hello, Chair Carvalho, board members. Thank you for having me over tonight. As you can tell, I'm a little bit nervous. That's why I have my notes. I got to read it. But again, thank you for letting me come and address this problem of, fires here in Hawaii. I was born and raised on Maui. And now I live in Waianae, but, I still have family and friends back home. And after the fire happened down in Lahaina town, it kind of struck a really hot nerve because some of my family and friends lost everything. So that's part of the reason why I decided to get involved in trying to look for something to share with the people of Hawaii and to help them out just a little bit. And that's the topic I want to address here tonight. Now, I recognize that all of you are at the top of your field, your jobs and what you do for the public. And I personally, appreciate that. I'm here to I'm here as a person to tell you about our company, Dry One Fire Retardant Products. Our company has been based, is based in Arizona. It's been in service for about 68 years. It's a water-based, non-toxic, non-hazardous flame retardant that can be applied to wood, fabrics, and any absorbent or porous materials. It's safe for the environment and safe for those who work with it and apply it. Dry One has proven its track record in both commercial and private environments, offering robust fire protection and enhancing public safety. Now, this product has been used also in various high-profile projects, such as the construction of Edwards Air Force Base, Luke Air Force Base, and other military bases across the U.S., the Palo Verde Nuclear Power Plant, and the Columbia Nuclear Power Plant in Washington State. Numerous government buildings, new home construction, existing and refurbishing construction, schools, the Renaissance Roofing Company, which also uses Dry One to rehabilitate and rebuild many historic state capitals around the US. And even Disney uses this product. My goal here tonight is to just, helping you find ideas and tailor-made solutions in your specialized areas of expertise. Now, what I've told you folks is just the tip of the iceberg, and I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know it's getting late and I only have a certain amount of time. I could talk forever about this product. I believe in this product. I've used the product, and it works really well. If you want to see more information or hear about more information about our product, you can go to our website. We're here to get involved with you and to be here for you in any capacity possible. Now, the owner of our company, Jim Biesinger, who I saw is actually online right now, is listening, and he wanted me to let you folks know if there's anything that you need to ask, please give him a call or email him, and he'll be more than happy to answer your questions. If you require any character references for anything or additional information, we can get that information for you as well. Now, I was hoping that John Mizuno and the rest of the guys would have stayed for a little while longer, because I think that they really should hear about our product. I gave a sample to Sam, and so he's got the sample with him to show them, hopefully. Now, I was told by Chair, and I appreciate that I couldn't show you in person what this product could do. But we did do a sample at home, and as you can see, we treated it with our product, our Dry One product, and we lit just a part of it, and we held it there with a lighter for about a minute. And as you can see, it didn't go up in flames. It just stood there. And it'll char, and the same thing with wood and any material. It'll char, but it won't burn. Okay. And I do have a couple of more samples in my bag there that I want to pass out to all of you. And I want you to take it home. I want you to take a lighter and try and light this thing up. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised on what you're going to see. Now, to my understanding, I did hear that a lot of buildings down here in town don't have sprinkler systems. And I think the main problem with buildings that were built from 1980 and before that, I guess at that time didn't have any rules on having sprinkler systems or anything like that. Now they do. Where I live in a homestead in Waianae, a lot of older homes. There are times where, we did have big fires out there. Homes were built, burned down. Some people perished. It's the same thing down in your community down here. I have seen on the news and heard on the internet and watched it online and seen these fires happen. I've talked to several different people along with the fire departments, police departments, and they all said, thank you for your product and we'll take a look at it. We'll get back to you, but I'm still waiting to hear from everybody. So thank you, Chair, for inviting me here tonight to talk to you folks about our product.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone in our audience have any questions for Mr. Soares? Not seeing anyone in the audience. Anyone online? All right, not seeing anyone online. Any board members have any questions? Go ahead. Board Member Armstrong.
Thank you. I'm just curious for those, and we do have many condos that are pre-1980. Does this satisfy the requirements of sprinkler systems? And if so, what do you do? Go into each unit and spray the walls, or how is it protective?
Yes, thank you for your question, Board Member Armstrong. It does. It really takes care of the situation. What happens is our product, once we spray it on, like say the walls and stuff, it will actually go into the wood or any porous material, at least an eighth of an inch, and it'll stay there for the lifetime of the building, especially with new construction. We can also use it on existing buildings, older construction, whatever it is, and it'll work the same way. Now, if there's a fire that comes in and starts burning the building, if our product is on there, like I said, it'll char it, but it won't go right through it unless you have another fire like Lahaina, unfortunately. Now, the product itself will actually stay there, like I said, for the lifetime of the building. And, if you go in and try to char that thing or burn the building, it'll char it. And if you scratch off the char, you'll come right back into the wood itself. Now, this product will also help the fire department and the first responders get there in time to help save the building, more than likely. But if you didn't have our product on there, there's a chance like the building will actually burn or loss of life will occur. And so this is why we decided that it's a product that really needs to be shared here in Hawaii, not only here on Oahu, but also on the other islands as well.
All right, thank you very much. Any other board members have any questions? Huh? All right, I don't look on that. So go ahead, Board Member Lai.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Soares, if you or Mr. Bessinger could let me know by email that this product does indeed address the Honolulu Fire Life Safety Evaluation criteria, you could have a long line of large contracts ahead of you. I'm assuming that the cost of this is going to be much less than the multi-million dollars to install a sprinkler system, but the efficacy has to be there. So does this product work for concrete-based buildings, or does it need to be wood structure type buildings to be effective?
Okay, so our product works mostly on wood. It works on thatch. It works on, like I say, any kind of porous material. It could even work on these carpets, curtains, drapery, beds, anything that you can think of with porous materials. Now, with concrete, me personally, I really don't know, but I can find out the answer for you. or I can have Jim actually talk with you. If you leave me your information, I will get you Jim's number. And I'm very sure that he would love to talk with you folks. Now, like I said, our company is based in Arizona, but what Jim wants to do is bring his products and bring it here to Hawaii. And if we need to get a warehouse, we can make the product here and sell it here and to people and whoever wants to use the product.
All right, thank you. Good question there, Board Member Lai. Appreciate that question. It's a good question. Any other board members? All right, hearing none, we want to thank you. I've got your information, so I can share your information too with all the other board members and all that. Okay.
Thank you. And like I said, I'll leave this.
You can pass it around.
With it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. So let's move out of that phase and let's go ahead straight to public concerns. Any one want to speak on public concerns? We're giving you 2 minutes each regarding issues not listed on this agenda. Anyone in this? Kim, go ahead. I already know you, so but you please say your name so everybody knows.
Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I'm Kim Coco Iwamoto. I'm on the neighborhood board for Ala Moana Kaka'ako. It's neighborhood board 11, along with Lori Farinas. And we're not here in our official capacities. We're just here. First of all, I've learned a lot by attending another board that's not my own. So thank you for letting us eavesdrop. What I'm realizing is that we do face a lot of similar concerns since we're neighbors. One of the, I wanted to share with you, the reason I'm here is to share with you the resolution that we passed in February of 2023. And we actually, this resolution then was used as the basis for resolutions being adopted by the Mo'olili Macaulay Neighborhood Board, by the Makiki Punch Bowl Neighborhood Board, for ours, and then I'm sorry, Waikiki Neighborhood Board. And it has to do with a resolution supporting consumer protection bills for condo owners. You know, many of you have read a lot, the litany of articles written and covered in Civil Beat about, you know, conflicts between condo owners and condo associations or developers. And this is really coming out of this feeling that condo owners have identified through their lived experiences. And I'm not sure how many of you are condo owners. Wow. Okay. So anyway, a lot of our neighbors are condo owners. I am not a condo owner, but Lori is. And so we obviously have to listen to our neighbors and what concerns they're going and struggles they're having. And so this is one of it. And I just want to read you the therefore be it resolved section, because this is the meat of what we're trying to do. Be it resolved that the Neighborhood Board 11 supports the passage of legislative bills that include the following solutions: create a state ombudsman's office to efficiently resolve complaints from homeowners and associations when laws and rules are not followed. Number 2, eliminate voting by proxy and allow only in-person or mail-in ballot voting. Number 3, increase transparency and homeowner access documents by increasing the frequency of filing, quickening wait times, and broadening which documents are to be filed automatically, and by reducing the burdensome costs of electronic documents and extending owners free access to their association documents. There's last 2 points are mandate licensure of association community managers to verify competency and ensure accountability and compliance with rules, laws, and professional standards. The last one is mandate educational requirements for association directors and community managers to ensure that everyone is prepared to properly fulfill their fiduciary duties, management, financial, legal responsibilities to the association and the homeowners they serve. And so I hope that at some point in the future, you will also consider a resolution that's similar, and you may want to add on or customize it to your needs. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, so we don't really give any questions at this point because it's community concerns. But I can ask you to go ahead and email me it, and I'll go ahead and send it out to all of our board members, okay?
So, should I,
Yeah, if you have enough for all of us, yeah, so, okay. Oh, it's online. Okay, it's online.
it's pending. Okay. Sorry, I made rubbish.
Yeah, go ahead, I got it. There you get it. All right. No, thank you, Kim. I'll talk to you later. Hey, right, no problem. Hey, Kim, just off real quick, send him back to me send Alan back towards me. He'll tell you what it is. It's a joke. Okay, thank you. All right, so do we have any other one that wants to speak on community concerns? All right, hearing none. They left with John. All right, okay, all right. Go ahead. We're going ahead and move on to our next section 5, approval of minutes. I hope everyone had a chance to look at the regular minutes, written summary for video record. All right. I know that Kevin and I would like to ask a question. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you, Chair. As you know, I was out of the country for the past 2 weeks, didn't have a chance to fully review the meeting written record. I respectfully ask that we defer consideration for adoption of this in an amended form until the next month's meeting. Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion? If you're making a motion, do we have a second? Okay. Mr. McDonald, second. All right. Do we have any discussions on this? Any objections? All right. Hearing none, seeing none, it's passed. We're going to next month. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Next, we're going to go to new business chair's report. So we do have a cleanup project that we're supposed to be setting up. Don't know if you folks are ready to set up or discuss it, or if you guys want to put it off to next month, that'd be fine. Because we've been discussing that we have a cleanup, right? Oh, yeah. So if you guys want, yeah, I think it's a good idea. That's if you guys want to, let's take some time this month, give some ideas what you guys want to do, so that we'll have it at next meeting. How's that sound? All right. Next, I think we were already reminded of this by Lieutenant Segusio. King Kamehameha Day Parade is this Saturday on the 8th. No. Yeah, it's a Saturday 8th, because today is the 6th, okay? Sean, you want to go up? I know you want to say a few words before I present this certificate, yeah? Chair's report. What do you want to say? About the certificate of who? Oh, I know you want to say. Yeah. Oh, it's wrong. Right.
I guess I'll speak for the group. On behalf of everyone from the neighborhood board, we wanted to give Dylan Buck a certificate of appreciation for all the hard work and wrangling the cats that we are together for such a long time. Thank you so much, Dylan. We sincerely appreciate your dedication and time to our neighborhood and our board. Thank you.
I never tried to have it.
That's how. So Dylan, so basically this is a certificate of recognition for everything that you've done for us, and especially coming from me, you've done a great job. I think everybody must have thought we were dating, because I was calling you like 2 or 3 times a day, just as much as IOP or anything else. And don't worry, I'll be doing the same to you. So Dylan, thank you very much. So Dylan's going to come one more month, next month, and that should be it. We won't see him after that. So we wanted to give this on behalf of Neighborhood Board 13. Okay.
Thank you. I'll just say thanks real quick.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, real quick. This was the first board that I was assigned to, and this has been 3 years now, just over.
And I remember when Sean, when you guys first joined the board, and I think you were the chair for a few months in the beginning. So yeah, we've come a long way. But I want to appreciate you guys because even though there were ups and downs, everything that we went through, there was COVID, facilities, changing venues, new policies, procedures. We have the YouTube, Google Drive. Kevin brought me onto the Google Drive back in the day. So you guys have helped me. I think that I've brought something to the table too. So I just want to say thank you to you guys and keep up the good work. And I have full confidence in Camelia. So please be as patient with her as you were with me. Thanks.
All right, thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. All right. Let me see what else did I have to remind. So also just a reminder, there is a community walk. It's not a sanctioned community walk from the board, but which Tyler, Mike DeSantos, and myself are putting on Saturday, June 22nd, 2024. So we'll be making a stop. The last stop will be at Oahu Market, which will be celebrating its 120th anniversary. The city council will be giving them a proclamation on that day. And we were wondering if this, well, we'll get to that in a second. But also MUFAT, which is rebuilding, is also going to allow us walkers into the building to take a peek at what's going on inside of WOFAT building, yeah? So that's all going to take place on January 22nd, yeah? We're going to start off at the new Hawaiian Spirit Museum, okay? At 9 o'clock in the morning, all right? Next is a reminder of our date change for next month. Our meeting is going to be on the 2nd of July, Tuesday, the 2nd of July. Just a reminder that we all came into agreement with that. All right. Just not to forget, the meeting is going to be on the 2nd. All right. All right. Next, this is a discussion on presenting Oahu Market with a certificate for the 120th anniversary. And we'll have a discussion. If we vote on it, then we'll go ahead and give it to them. I personally feel that we should give them a certificate. They've been in our neighborhood for 120 years, and they should know that the neighborhood board does think about our businesses and people together. So anyone wants to ask any questions or discuss this, feel free. Go ahead.
Can I make a motion that we present Oahu Market with a certificate for their 120th anniversary? Let's say certificate of appreciation.
I second that.
Okay, we got a first and we got a second. Any discussions on this? All right, hearing none. Kevin, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Just for clarification for our community, can we, for those who aren't online or were able to look it up immediately, define where Oahu Market is, who are the owners, who are its components, what have they done besides existing for 120 years that we want to celebrate? Thank you.
All right, so Oahu Market is hotel and Kekaliki. All right, and they've been here 120 years. I'm not sure, don't have right off the bat the name, huh? I meant King, my fault, yeah. It's on King, and I walk past it every day going to work, so I do apologize. It's on King and Kekaliki. I'm not sure the owner's name right at this point. I've got it written down at home, but it's not something I've written out. But this business has been here. I used to go to it as a child, yeah, with my grandfather, and we used to get big ahi back in the days, yeah. So lots of fish. It's changed a lot since it was originally opened. But the certificate will have all the information on it, but we can give them more information when we update them at our next meeting, yeah, about what was done. But this city council will be giving a proclamation out. Any other questions? No? Do we have any other discussions?
Mr. Chair, I just want to note that for the next 10 days, our community is going to be host to FestPac, which is the Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture. It is a huge deal and a great honor. 27 nations, thousands of people at the convention center, and right now sharing their aloha at the Stanton Sheriff Center. So I just wanted to note that, and I wish we could be part of it, but we also have the neighborhood board meeting.
Right. I wish I could, yeah. All right, so here, no other questions, sir? Are there any objections to this? Seeing no objections, motion passes. We'll go ahead and create one. And you see this key here? Dylan wants to present me with this key because I'm responsible for closing the place down and opening it up. I had to be here at 4 o'clock today to hold this place for us to have this meeting here today. So I expect you all to help me close this place down. No. All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. Next, we'll go ahead and move on to elected officials. We start with Congressman Ed Case's representative. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move down to Governor Josh Green's representative. He gave, if you check the Google Drive, you'll see the answers to the Google Drive that were asked last month. They're on Google Drive.
I'm still trying to get a few more, but
okay,
mostly.
Go ahead.
I just here to take questions. Sean has some questions about the opioid settlement, which I think I can help him with. But otherwise, I'm just here to have any concerns.
Yeah. Speaking to the
yeah.
mic, you can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just here to answer any or take any questions you have. Sean had some questions about the opioid settlement, so
okay.
I think I can help him there.
All right, so just give me 1 second. Anyone in attendance have any questions for the governor's representative? No? Anyone online? No? Yeah. Yeah. So anyone online? All right. So any board
Chair.
members have any?
Chair, may I speak, please?
Yes, go ahead, Robert.
Yes, I just have a question if this is the right representative, but I have a question about bus route 151. Would that be directed to the governor's office or to the mayor's office?
That's the city.
Okay, thank you. I'll come back at that time. Thank you, Chair.
No problem. Okay. Any board members? Sean?
Steven. Yeah, no, we talked briefly, but I was wondering if you could, provide some comments about, the opioid settlement money and how, that would be expended or used in our district. Any comments would be great. Thanks.
Well, the money is being spent in different phases, and I know that there's going to be a website set up that kind of explains how the money will be spent. There's a short term and a long term process. Well, the short term, of course, is the Narcan and trying to treat people who are already in crisis. The longer term plan is to develop preventive treatments and preventive services to help people stay clean and to get off their addictions. So that will cost more money and take a longer period of time to develop. So that's probably why you're seeing that not so much of the money has been spent immediately.
Well, I guess like the follow-up question I guess I would have would be how much of a priority is our district with respect to the monies that are allocated to the state? Are we a high priority? Or where are we in the totem pole?
I can't really answer that question right now. I think they're still going over the planning for how to spend it long term, but I would assume that it's where the need is greatest. That's where the most effort will go.
All right. Any other board members? All right. Go ahead, board member Line.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Downs, I saw the document that you had shared with the chair and posted to our Google Drive. And I just want to ask about two of them. The first was about noise issues and vehicles, modified exhaust and whatnot. I saw your response and I appreciate you citing the statutes that exist about them. And yes, I knew those in asking the question, but the question was, what is the state doing to try to keep those laws enforced? Are there specific checks that the annual vehicle inspection stations are required to do to confirm? Are there stings that are going on? Because I know that these vehicles exist, or they have simple on-off switches that can, simply modify them. For example, the air horns and things such as that. And then secondly, with the question that was posed about the specific example of Pulley Highway and Vineyard Boulevard, the issue of the panhandlers there having an easy access to the vehicles who are waiting to turn left, for example, into either of those roads. I think that going by and, chopping down the hedges and the plants there just makes it even easier for the folks to walk up and down the street and jab into traffic. Is there a better solution to make it, again, less hospitable for people who are breaking the law? Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Board Member Kevin McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here. My question, again, I think that one of the biggest concerns for this neighborhood, as I've pointed out many times, is homelessness and the crime associated with homelessness. And some cities that have addressed this with some success, we know that it's not illegal to be homeless, but it should be illegal to infringe on the rights of others with your homeless behavior. And some other cities have had success with a tent city type situation. So I think, I certainly don't have anything against being homeless. If you choose to live that lifestyle, that should be your prerogative, but you shouldn't be able to do it on the doors and steps and sidewalks and parks that infringe on other people's rights to use those areas. So what is the governor's position on a tent city or a designated area where if you would choose to live a homeless lifestyle, we can say, here you go, here's a nice little area, and then you're not violating the rights of other good citizens of Hawaii.
All right, thank you. Any other board members? All right, hearing none, I want to finish. Actually, I got hold on. This question, I got a Facebook question from Juliet Bagley. This summer temperatures will rise and we have fewer places where people can access shade from the sun in town. How is the state/county preparing for the heat waves that will be happening? And this will go out to every single representative. So I hope you hear it one time. So did you get that? Or do you want me to repeat that?
Could you repeat it, please?
Yeah, so from Juliet, she's saying, we know that summer temperatures will rise and we have fewer places where people can access shade from the sun in town. How is the state/county preparing for the heat wave that will be happening? So how are they going to protect them with shades from the sun? All right, that was the question from. Other than that, I have no questions. So if there's no other questions, I want to thank you very much for everything. All right, and welcome aboard.
Thanks.
All right, next we'll go. Next, Mayor Rick Blangiotti's representative is not here. I did upload the memos. Okay, they're at the townhouse. Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Ian Santi, the mayor's rep, he's at the town hall tonight. There's one more town hall this month, and then it'll be over for the next year, maybe. Anyway, Mr. Cortero, could you clarify what your question was about bus route 151? If you had a concern that I can take back for you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So I'm a resident of 1331 River Street, Haleiwa'i'olo senior residence. So with respect to public transportation for our senior community having direct access to Queens Hospital, I would like to request a review for consideration and approval to extend bus route 151, which is titled the Chinatown Kuakini, to be extended so that after leaving Haleiwa'i'olo, it turns right on Diamond Head towards Diamond Head on Vineyard, that instead of turning right on Pali, if it can travel 2 more intersections and turn right instead on Punch Bowl Street, which would allow us direct access to Queens Hospital. So it would be just a very short extension of the route, which would then actually turn back down right on Baratania, and then left on Richards, and then right again on South Hotel Street before it joins its normal route. So it's a very short extension, but what that would give us is that would give us access to the hospital. So I'd like to ask if that can be reviewed and see if that's possible.
Yeah, certainly, Robert. So I'll take that back, and that'll be distributed to DTS, who handles the bus. And then at the next meeting, we'll provide a response from what DTS provides. Thank you.
Okay. I did prepare a letter. I wasn't able to upload it, but are you able to just without the letter, or would you like me to upload the letter?
You can send it to me.
Okay. Robert, can you send that letter to Chair Carvalho? He'll pass it to me.
Terrific. I'll do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Robert. Thank you. All right, let's get back on track. Next, we have City Council District 6, Tyler DeSantos. Tam, is your representative here tonight?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Awesome. Dylan, we're going to miss you. Appreciate you, man. I think when I started, you didn't have a beard, so it's cool to see that that kind of grow over time. Kevin has mentioned in multiple meetings some of the tents that have been going up nearby. As we've discussed previously, I mean, it is a thorny issue because it's not legal to do sweeps unless it's in front of businesses. What I will say is that in Bill 20, which was our restricted parking zones bill, a year ago, we added in a provision for this specific reason, which would make it illegal to block parking stalls that are marked off. It's so you know, if there's spillover there, if they I remember some of the photos you did show, Kevin. The structures kind of spill over onto the street. If that's the case, it's a lot easier to report them and get them cleared out, or at least cite them. Moving towards some of the more legislative stuff, there are a couple of things that are in the works that are especially related to Chinatown. Christine Camp, oh, sorry, my video came off here. One sec. Christine Camp had mentioned previously transferring Fort Street Mall from DPR to DTS so that we could increase some of the foot traffic there and actually activate the area. So we have a resolution drafted that addresses just this and is trying to work with the admin to make that change. And this is absolutely a priority moving forward. So I expect that when we've engaged some of the stakeholders in the area, some of the small businesses, the Fort Street Mall Improvement Association, that's going to be proposed. Another thing is the state passed HB 2090, which basically requires the counties to do adaptive reuse. So we've been talking to DPP about this, and we expect that something's going to be proposed by DPP within the month, and prioritizing adaptive reuse, especially in our downtown Chinatown area, is going to be huge to activating the area. A few other things. We're also working to propose a speed limits bill to reduce speed limits in certain areas, specifically near schools and near parks. And there was one more thing. One sec. Last thing is, sorry, I hope everybody can still hear me. But the last thing is there's a pilot program for outdoor dining. FET is an example of a restaurant that has used that program. It ends in about a year or so. So we plan to introduce another bill making it permanent because, again, we need to activate the sidewalks as much as possible. So hopefully my connection wasn't too bad and everybody could hear me. Open to any questions.
All right, thank you very much. After I see your lips moving and every word's coming after. Kidding.
Got it. Sorry
There
about
is a
that.
delay. No, there is a delay because I just noticed it. But anyway, do we have any questions from our audience? Seeing none, hearing none. No, that's. Do we have any questions from our online audience? Candace?
Yes, I just wanted to follow up because I know Richmond, you're with City Councilman Tyler DeSantos Tam's office. We've been writing to him and trying to follow up with him on behalf of our board of directors on the requests that our building made Yeah, for 250 North King Street. I know that our board of directors made a formal request for assistance in repairing the damaged fence along our perimeter. That's right at the back of our building, the Nimitz off ramp on the
Mhm.
kitty corner with
Right.
Evale. Is that something you can follow up on?
Yes. I actually can we talk about it? Can we talk about it offline?
Offline?
Can I send my cell to you? Let me find your
Or maybe you
like
can
your
send it
work
to
chat.
Ernest and then, or
Okay,
I
yeah,
can
yeah, that
call
would
you
be great.
tomorrow.
Ernest
Yeah.
Ernest has my
Okay, Just,
we can
just,
oh go ahead.
just 1 second. Hold on. Go ahead.
Hey, Richmond. Hi, Candace.
Hi.
Included when you emailed Mayor's Rep Ian Santi
Yes.
and Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. So I am aware
Yes.
of it, and I'm working with the Mayor's Rep to get a response for you. We
Oh,
didn't have one in
great.
time for this meeting, but stay tuned. So Richmond, I just want to let you know that we're working on it
Okay.
right now. We can work together on it, but if you got other things to do, we can take care of it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Dylan.
All right,
Thank
and
you.
also, Candace, I did walk the backside today, on my way to work. So I took more pictures of the damages done on the fence line, okay? So,
Okay, thank you.
you're very welcome. All right, does anyone, any board member have any questions? Okay, we're going to start off with Board Member McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Richmond, for being here. I meant to direct this question to the mayor's assistant, but he's not here. I figure the city council member is the next best option, but I just have to ask, what is going on with Dillingham Boulevard? It is one of the main arteries to get to our community. It's one of the main ways that people will travel to our community. And it has been a mess for I think approaching 2 years, if not more than 2 years. It took 471 days to build the Empire State Building. And here we are 2 years into this project. And the only thing that I seem to see is more metal plates going on down on Dillingham Boulevard. And I don't see any improvement or any sense of completion of the project. I think the Roman aqueducts were finished faster than whatever we're doing there, and probably at a lower cost as well. So can we please get some clarity on what's happening there and how we can clean that up and get it completed?
Go ahead, Richmond.
Yeah. So we absolutely hear you, and I will look to see if like how much clarity we can find working with Hart. I agree that this situation is terrible. Every time I drive on Dillingham, it is super tough, and that's part of the reason why we passed Bill 40, which would give money to some of the small business who are affected by it. In the meantime, we'll continue reaching out to Hart to see how quickly they can fix it. But it's a bad situation, and from all indications, I mean, we talked to Lori Kahikina about it. It's going to go on until 2029, 2030.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Hello,
So this is
sorry, this is Harry from Hart. Kevin, what was your question? Sorry, I didn't catch your question.
all right. So actually, Harry, when we get to Hart, he can ask you that question. Okay, when his turn comes out. We're going to stick with our man in Richmond here. So this is something that's not just affecting Lee, but it's affected by Powell, Pro City, and everybody else. And it's bad. You're right. It's terrible. So I believe Board Member Armstrong, did you have a question? Board Member Thompson, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Richmond, for being available. Also, I wanted to ask the mayor, but I can ask you. There is a rumor, and I'll say that to start, that the ambulances, Baker 1, Charlie 1, and another one, I can't remember which one off the top of my head, are going down because of staffing issues, and they're going to have to be covered by like Salt Lake and Hawaii Kai. Do you know that's true? And if so, what are we going to do to kind of make up I mean, that's a lot of downtown that we're talking about coverage wise. So what is the city going to do about that?
I'm not entirely sure how valid the rumor is. I haven't heard anything personally about it.
All right, so, but if you can try to find out and get back with us, we'd appreciate it. The response will be fine. Any other members and board members? Nope, let's hear, I'm Sean Fitzsimmons.
Hey, Richmond, how's it going? I just wanted to just, I guess you'd be the person tonight. Thanks for this, the putting up, the signage about the speed limits. That's great. Hotel Street, there's still a bunch of like, civilian vehicles that drive on it, more so since the AC Hotel is opened. Again, I see a lot of near misses on that intersection when people take a right from Bishop to Hotel, also from Hotel to Bishop, especially in the mornings during rush hour. HPD Lieutenant Segusio mentioned that the signage is the issue. So I was wondering if there's any discussion of putting additional signage on Hotel Street to prevent civilian vehicles from driving upon it. Thanks.
There hasn't been any discussion that I've heard, but I think it's a great point, and we should start thinking about that more. I'm going to make a note of it here.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'll end this. So Dylan, you did hear what I had asked the governor's rep, right? About, I'm in Richmond. You did hear what I had asked the governor's rep about shade, right? What are we going to do about shade? If you can get back with me in the email, that would be appreciated. Secondly, I'm going to be sending you an email of a picture of, just to prove his point, of a white vehicle last week, Thursday. So usually Thursdays when I don't do this board meeting, I go to Menace Fest because they have trivia night. And me, my sister, and my cousins are part of a trivia team that we love. And it's a great trivia night, actually. And there was a white vehicle that was parked right across the Feddies on Hotel Street. So it was parked by Smith's Union Bar, just above Smith's Union Bar. And that vehicle stayed there for about an hour and a half. Not one single cop stopped and did anything about it. So what can we do about cars stopping on Hotel Street? Cars don't belong on Hotel Street. Yeah. And just, I'll send you the information and just email me back. Okay. All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right. No, thank you. You have a great day, Richmond.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye. All right. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're moving on to State Senate Car Roads. Are there any representatives from Car Roads on? Okay. So I did get an email before we started that they weren't sure if they were going to be able to have a representative for Car Roads. Car Roads had to step out of town. He's out of town at this time, but he will be back. So if anyone has any questions for him, they can email his office directly or email it to myself, and I'll give it to Car Roads. All right. Next, we have State House District 26, Scott Psyche. We just got his report. It'll be uploaded by tomorrow morning at the latest. It just came in before we started. Next, we have State House District 28, Daniel Holt. Daniel Holt is not here, and neither is a representative of his. Next is the monthly reports. I'm going to stick to this 3 minutes on these each, okay? We start off with Honolulu Board of Water Supply.
Hi,
Go ahead.
good evening. It's Iris. I just have one announcement. People will start getting a water quality report to ensure that the water served to our customers is safe to drink. Each year, we conduct thousands of tests on the water sources and distribution system to ensure that the municipal water meets or exceeds all federal and state safe drinking water standards. So these tests are shared with our customers on an annual water quality report. So it's going to be mailed in July, starting July 1st. So digital copies and additional water quality information are available at the boardofwatersupply.com, or you can also call 808-748-5041 for more information. And if you're in an apartment, it usually in your centralized water, you'll have to probably get it from your building management or online. I'm not sure if you know your building's account number though. So that was my one thing. And I had 2 questions from last month. If I could go through that, answer
Go
it.
ahead.
Okay. Oops, sorry, I gotta find where it is online here. Let's see, there it is. Okay, so last month the question was about they heard that there was federal money for lead pipes and replacement. So do we have lead pipes? So we do not use and have not found any historical records of lead pipes being used in the municipal drinking water systems up to the meter. So in accordance to the 2021 lead copper rule revisions, the Board of Water provides information to service holders about the materials in the pipes up to the meter that serves the home. So again, you can go to boardofwatersupply.com for more information on that. And then the second question was if we did have lead pipes, would we be asking for federal money? So the federal government recently did set a goal to replace 100% of all lead pipes across the country. If we find that the pipes must be replaced, if we find there are lead pipes that have to be replaced, we'll apply for those programs to receive the necessary funding. Okay, so that was my two follow-ups.
All right, anyone in our audience in attendance have any questions? Hearing none, seeing none. Anyone online have any questions? All right, seeing none online. Any board members have any questions? You go ahead, Board Member Thompson, please.
Thank you, Iris, for being here. Oh, thank you, chairs, and thank you, Iris. On a similar vein, the EPA is making new recommendations as far as PFAS or kind of what's known as forever chemicals. Does the Board of Water Supply anticipate a lot of expenditure that they're going to have to make to kind of remove these chemicals if they are here, especially since we have a large military presence? And will we be pursuing federal money for that?
Yes, so we are looking into that, the land, the area, the type of uses above our aquifers. I will pose that question if there is stuff that is available, we will apply for. Well, for one, we'll meet the requirements, the federal government requirements, and if there's money available, we will look for money. As always, anything that's available, we're looking for that. Did you need me to ask something specific about PFAS to follow up?
I just know that the EPA was making new recommendations and kind of each state was scrambling to try to figure out what they're going to do. So just an update, I guess, on what we're doing and what the anticipation is as far as what Hawaii or Oahu specifically will need to do.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we are working on that and looking into that. Yeah. Okay, so I'll ask that question for follow-up next month.
Any other board members have any questions for Iris? Hearing none, seeing none. Thank you very much, Iris. We'll see you next month. No, actually, Iris,
Yes.
Iris, please, I'm going to send you out an email, yeah? And I'll send you out an email later, okay?
Okay, sure. We're looking for it. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Next, we have Mauna Kea Villages. No. First, we have Hawaii Department of Transportation, HDOT, with Blaine Kawamura. Are you here, Blaine? Any representatives? All right. Let's see none. We'll go down to Mauna Kea Villages. Greg Payton, I know you're here, right?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Chair. My name is Greg Payton. I serve as CEO for Mental Health Kokua, or what we call MHK. One of our programs is Safe Haven, which is now called Mauna Kea Villages. We have placed 33 formerly homeless residents into permanent housing in Mauna Kea, and since January of this year, between Mauna Kea Village, our Punuai Rest Stop Hygiene Center in Iwilei, and our case management program, we've housed a total of 50 people since January, homeless people, and 90% have stayed in housing. We've stabilized about 175, we saw about 175 people in case management at the Punuai Rest Stop, and we got about 84 people, different kinds of entitlement services through the Department of Human Services. That's my report. Appreciate the ongoing support from the neighborhood board, and if you have any questions, I'm glad to answer them.
All right. Do we have any questions from our audience? Seeing none. Anyone from online? Seeing none. Board Member Lai?
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Payton, there was mention earlier this evening of funding that I think had been expended by IHS to return folks to the mainland. I note from your posted document, you show one person returned back in March. Can you let us know, how do you get access to these funds? Do you have a pool? Is it on a PRN basis where someone comes and you apply to another entity for that? Maybe you can walk us through that. And do you see this as being a significant part of Mauna Kea Village moving forward? Thank you.
The folks that we serve are just a little bit different. Our niche are people with serious mental illness. So about 95% of the people that we serve are actually from Hawaii. So it's a little bit different. The people that come into our Punawai Rest Stop facility in Evil Lake, the hygiene center, we serve a much broader range of people, and they do sometimes come from the mainland. So we will work with IHS and IHS's program for the return to home, and we will make referrals to IHS for that service. The other people that we serve are mostly from here, and unfortunately, local families just simply don't know what to do with a family member who begins experiencing mental illness in their young adulthood, and they say you just can't live here anymore, and they end up homeless. They don't know about programs like ours, unfortunately, and so it's kind of a unique thing. And it's for the niche of people that we serve. Hopefully, I answered your question.
All right, thank you. Any other board members have any other questions? All right, thank you, Craig. You have a good day.
Thank you folks so much.
I'm also going to send you out an email tomorrow, okay? Thank you. All right, next we'll go ahead and we're moving to Hart with Harry. Go ahead, Harry.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Harry Cho with the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation. I don't have anything new to report on. I guess a quick update on the utility work in downtown. That is still ongoing. Hart and our contractor are making great progress on that phase of work, and it's still on schedule to be completed by the end of this year, which will be followed by guideway and station construction, which we anticipate to begin in 2025 next year. But that's all I had for my update, and I can take any questions.
You were going to answer a question about Dillingham for Board Member McDonald.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't catch that question,
ahead,
Kevin. Can you
McDonald.
repeat that?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Cho, for being here. My question was really for the mayor or the city councilman, but Dillingham Boulevard has been a disaster for well over 2 years now. And the city councilman's assistant put a lot of the responsibility on the construction having to do with the Hart construction. And I'm wondering why it is taking so long. I mentioned that it took far less time to build the Empire State Building and probably less time to build the Roman aqueducts at a lesser cost. But I'm also curious, as I'm thinking about the question, why does all of Dillingham need to be torn up as well? Can't the work be done in smaller sections and moved along so that the entirety of Dillingham Boulevard from Nimitz to King Street doesn't have to be completely raised? And I don't know how much of that it has. It doesn't look like a lot of it has to do with the Hart construction, but I'm sure that some of it is to do with that. So why can't this be done better, faster, and more efficiently?
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
So actually, all of the construction you see on Dillingham is related to the rail project. So what you see on Dillingham is Hart's construction. As for the timeline, this is a major infrastructure progress. There's a lot of work to be done on Dillingham. There's a lot of utilities that need to be moved, and that's the reason why it's such a lengthy process. It's not a small project that can be done quickly. The reason why Dillingham is toned off in its entirety and not just a certain small portion of it is because there's multiple crews working in different areas at the same time, day shift, night shift, around the clock, and that's the fastest way to get the work done. By allowing the contractor to work in multiple locations. So that's the answer to your questions, Kevin.
All right, thank you. Any other board members have any other questions for Hart? Go ahead, Ms. Line. We have 28 seconds.
Mr. Cho, just wanted to let you know a quick question. I visited 5 second and third world countries last month. 4 of them had modern transportation systems, including metros and subways. how do you posit that a country such as Ecuador built a 22-mile subway system for 1.6 billion US dollars? I just have to wonder where the overspending is going with the program here in Honolulu. Thank you.
I apologize. I do not know the answer to that. If you'd like, I could potentially do some research and maybe get back to you.
All right, that'd be great. But I'm very interested. I'm also very interested in that one too, because as we know, Taiwan built what 126-mile rail for $1.7 million in a year and a half. So, but anyway, yeah. But anyway, next, I wanted to say thank you very much, Sherry, for everything. I'll be sending you also out an email tomorrow. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Chinatown Improvement District. Lee Stack, are you here? Not seeing her.
Sorry, Chair, but I understand why the state representatives are put on the agenda every month, but I believe Ms. Stack has been absent for probably 5 of the last 6 meetings. Can we save a little time by?
So what? No, yeah. So you bring it. No, actually, what I'll do is I'll speak to Ms. Stack tomorrow, and I'll talk to her about that, because there's a couple of these other ones that I'm thinking about moving some to quarterlies. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just remind the board that in the past, we had set up a system whereby a report needed to be filed prior to the agenda deadline to warrant being on the agenda each month. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that, Mr. Lai. And actually, the more it goes, I kind of like that idea. Trust me. All right. Next, we have Chinatown Business Community Association. Shulon had to leave because there was something that needed to be done. I'm not going to get into what it was, but she had to leave. Her report will also be up by the morning. Next, we have Neighborhood Citizens Patrol, Kevin Lai. Please, Kevin.
Thank you, Chair. Let's let you know that tonight we're going to take a break from a formal report, but just to briefly note that the patrol did visit the 215 North King Street building and the fence. I think you mentioned you took some pictures. We did as well. So it is interesting how that came to play. We spoke with someone who lives in the building and had a bit of a backstory. But we'll have a full report next month. And again, if people can join us on the second Tuesday of next month, we're looking for the next 5 people to join, and we'll get some T-shirts for everybody and keep on trucking. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I do appreciate everything you do with that patrol. All right. So announcements next. Downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board meeting for number 13 will take place Tuesday, July 2nd. Once again, Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024 at 6:00 p.m. at Ke'eli Kolani Middle School and virtually via WebEx. You can catch us on YouTube. Do you want to watch us? Also, rebroadcast the Downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board. Number 13 meetings are scheduled on Olelo Channel 49 every third Thursdays at 9:00 p.m. as well as 9:00 a.m. the 4 Saturdays of each month. There should be this meeting should be tomorrow on YouTube, yeah, because they usually have this on the next following day. I want to thank everybody. Let's go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Time right now is 8:29. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, guys. Hey, if you guys could please help, I really